Welcome to AlexGs Aquarium, everybody. Today I want to talk about leaving your aquarium. I recently got back from a 10-day vacation and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to talk about what I do when I have to leave my aquarium systems, whether I'm going on a vacation or a business trip. There could be a lot of feelings and emotions and anxiety around this. I want to cover that along with how everything did in the aquarium system while I was gone, the plan I put in place, and some things that I've learned over the years of leaving aquariums that hopefully can help you out if you have to leave your aquariums. When it comes to going on vacation, for me, I like to unplug and relax and de-stress, but whenever I book a vacation, the first thing that comes to mind is, what am I going to do with the aquarium? It definitely has built a lot of stress and anxiety over the years for me when I go. Nobody can take care of my animals the same way that I can. And I find that putting a plan in place helps to ease some of that. And getting together everything you could do to set up for success while you're gone is really important. And it'll help to kind of take some of those feelings, emotions, anxiety away. It's not to say that it always works perfect. Unfortunately, I've had some crashes and losses happen while I've gone on trips. It is something that could happen even if you were home. Having a good plan can help with that. You know, it's okay to feel that way. I care about my animals and I want to make sure that they're treated well. And this is the first time I left this aquarium system to go on a trip. The 4,200 gallon display is just a few months old. It's in the uglies. There's lots of hair algae. There's cyano. But the fish and coral are doing good. I'm like, I really don't want to have to worry about this when I go on a trip. And that's where proper planning comes in. When I got back from my 10-day vacation, I came downstairs, immediately started looking at the tank. You know, I could see the puffer and the wrasse, and everybody in here looked good. So the fish all look good in the fish only. In the reef tank they look good. The corals look good. The other inverts look good. I even saw that the hair algae had seemed to kind of, you know, die back a bit while I was gone. So everything turned out okay. My 100-gallon tank and also my little 25-gallon tank, along with everything in the fish room, also was good. So my plan worked out perfectly, and I have to also say a huge thank you to Steve at Reef Plus in North Aurora, along with his team, for taking care of my tank while I was gone. They came by the house every other day. And I carried out my instructional plan for how to check for everything, do a couple minor little maintenance items, and feed the fish. And it all worked out good. With this plan in place, though, there was a lot more to it than just having someone come to the house and just do some tasks for you. There is pre-planning involved. Now, when it comes to planning to be away from your aquariums, the very first thing that I like to do is find out, who am I going to trust to take care of my aquarium systems while I'm gone. I've had friends, family members, my wife, local fish store. You have to look at your situation, what's right for you, what's going to work for you, and that is going to be how you base your plan. Now for me, I talked to Steve at Reef Plus pretty early on, a few months before I went on my trip, and as the date got closer, within about a month or so, we locked in the dates of when he was going to be watching the tank. Now, if family members or friends or neighbors, whoever, I do the same thing, is make sure that you lock them in and get confirmation that they're good as you approach the trip and communicate with them. Now that you have someone established, the next thing is preparing your aquarium system and everything to be as successful as it can while you're out of town. Within 60 to about 30 days of leaving is where I recommend that you do any major maintenance you're going to do. If you're going to do large scale water changes or really tear equipment apart to redo it, software updates on controllers, adding new equipment, changing things you're dosing, adding new fish, adding new corals, inverts. If you're going to do anything like that, I recommend doing it at least, you know, in that 60 to 30 day window before you leave at the most. And getting in within 30 days of going on the trip, I do not make any major changes to my system if I can help it. I got some pretty hard, fast rules on no hardware changes, software changes, major equipment overhauls or new equipment, and fish. I will not add new fish to a tank within 30 days of leaving. The only exception to that would be is like in my arrival tank where new fish are coming in. If they're just going to be put into a tank by themselves and not go into a running system that I already have established. Corals, generally I won't add them either, but I'll fully admit here, less than a week to go on my 10-day trip, I got a whole bunch of coral because I was making a purchase from a friend tearing a system down and he needed some space. So I went over and got his coral. Now the one thing I would say is it came from an established tank. These corals have been there a long time, and going into a new system, yeah, that first week to 10 days anyways, you know, things are going to go well, they're going to go well, and if they're not, they're not. But that is something I did this time around. As far as other inverts and other animals, I generally try to avoid that too within a month. All I'm looking to do is have the aquarium be as stable as I can so there's no major changes going on. If you're going to do smaller water changes or smaller pieces of maintenance like, you know, cleaning algae out of flow pumps or the overflow box weir or the protein skimmer, those types of things I definitely continue to do. If you're going to swap out things like carbon, that's also a good time to do it. And really, you're just trying to make the tank stable. That way there's no changes or something happening right before you go. And within a week or so of going, you know, I'm just really keeping an eye on things, doing little maintenance touches, and at this point making sure I have all the supplies on hand needed for my tank sitter. That includes having enough fish food, having an emergency kit with battery operated air pumps and batteries that work, and some extra batteries, instructions for how to operate the generator, and making sure that there's carbon and some filter pads if needed, that they could be used in an emergency. Very important there to have that plan together. And also, if it's somebody that's not as experienced with aquariums, I'd also recommend having a few escalation points of contact for them prepared. It might be your local fish store or a friend that's very advanced, somebody that can help them if they're not experienced. That's really important. And with that done, and you're getting real close, usually within a few days of leaving, I like to have the tank sitter come over to the house. I want to show them everything that I want them to do. For me, I try to keep it as simple as possible. For this aquarium, it would be, I want to walk through it, make sure the equipment looks okay, there's no leaks or spills or noises or smells going on around the display or in the fish room. I want to make sure that they have food prepared. If it's somebody not experienced with aquariums, I portion the food out for every single day and every tank and label it in little baggies or containers so that it is not possible for them to overfeed the fish. If automatic feeders are in place, make sure those are topped off too. Now, when I have the tank sitter come over, I will give them the instructions generally, and not only that, I will ask them to show me what I just asked them to do and make sure that they actually can demonstrate to me that they can do this. And that's going to be feeding the fish, walking through the tank, and on my emergency kit, at a minimum, I want them to get the battery operated air pump out and put it into the tank so that I could see that they know how to do it and it's no question about it. In this particular trip, Steve and I, our schedules just didn't meet, and he's never seen the display tank before. He has taken care of my fish room system, but he has not been here since the display came online. And I really want to be able to just show him some things, but because our schedules just weren't compatible, he ended up asking me, can you just make me a video, a YouTube video or a Google Drive video, upload it and send a link to me. And I gotta say, Steve had a perfect idea here. I'm gonna do this from now on. I made a 10-minute YouTube video, uploaded it with a private link, so I'll just share it with him. And that way, he has a video instruction of what I want him to do for the entire aquarium, which really was the walkthrough, the Only maintenance task I had was check the overflow blocks weir for hair algae getting clogged in there. And you know, if you see the crossbar on the tank underneath here, that means the water level is really getting high because of that overflow box weir, and it needs cleaning. Where all the fish food was, emergency kit, the generator plug, and how to operate that, it all worked out perfect. And Steve really liked the video because he said he could go back and reference it any time that I was gone. So thank you, Steve, for that idea. And for everyone else out there, I highly recommend this. It's a great idea. Now, with that plan in place, I went on my trip. I did have some contact with Steve while I was gone, and it worked out well. He let me know things were going okay. But that's the plan I really put in place. And really, it's all about preparing ahead of time, getting things all settled in and not making changes, and having a stable system, and making sure whoever's going to be watching your tank is set up for success. So they're not going, I don't know what to do. And things that I've learned over the years, there's a lot of it. And that has really led me to making plans like this. Emergency kits with battery operated air pumps, or having the generator and instructions for it, or numbers of people you can call to help, is all sprung out of experiences that I've had on vacation where, you know, my mom was watching the tank once when I was a teenager, and we lost power. The sump wasn't engineered right, so it overflowed when we lost power. There was no battery operated air pumps. She didn't have anyone to call. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of stuff during that big 2002 blackout, and kind of got me out of the hobby for a while. So things like that, I recommend you got emergency kits. And when it comes to whoever's watching the tank, a few of the things I would mention. One, make it very clear to them they are not to use cleaning products or anything around the tank that you don't want them to. And make sure they really understand this. You don't want your tank to be accidentally poisoned because they're trying to clean the glass. You know, just tell them, hey, if water spills or something happens, just get a towel and mop it up as best you can. Go to the emergency plan, and you don't know what to do, call somebody that can help while you're out of town if they can't reach you. Feeding the fish. This is why I portion food or use automatic feeders. The fish always look hungry. The puffer's right here right now, and he would gladly continuously eat until he couldn't eat no more. That's just what the behavior of some of these fish are. They just always look hungry. So make sure you express to people, do not feed more than I've asked, and the portion will take that out of the equation and them going, well, I didn't know how much to feed. Something else, and this one I haven't encountered directly, but when I worked in a local fish store a long time ago, I had a customer that came in, and it was actually somebody's wife, and they wanted to just buy fish and coral for their spouse as a gift for their birthday or an anniversary or something. And I remember I talked them out of it because I said, if you don't know what they want, and they had no idea about aquariums, or like, I don't know what it is they want, an angel something or a tang something. And I was like, I would recommend a gift certificate and wait to talk to them. It's a lovely thought, but don't do that. And actually, that person's husband did come in, and it was a regular customer I knew, and they actually said thank you, because what they were thinking they wanted was completely wrong. So, not to say what happened when you leave, but just something to tell friends, or even if it's a local fish store or a buddy that's got fish and corals, I would just tell them, please don't add anything to my aquarium while I'm gone. I really not appreciate that, and I'd get upset. You want to really make those ground rules clear with people, and really this is where having a plan in place and having people for them to call if they don't know what to do could help if they're not experienced. In my case, Steve from Reef Plus is watching the tank. He's been watching my tank for years. I trust what he's going to do and do right for my animals. So I didn't have to go through all that with him, just because he knows me well and we communicate on these things when he's watching my tank. So those are some of the main ones I would cover. This one is a complete mind story, but I have to throw it out there, and that is I don't pick favorites in my systems anymore. I don't have a favorite fish, I don't have a favorite coral or a favorite invert. I like everything equally, and I know it's total superstition, but I had many trips I went on when I was younger where literally every single trip, whatever my favorite thing was, like 3 trips in a row, it died in some manner. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore, no more favorites. It just equals the odds, and it could kind of put yourself at ease. That's really what I've learned over the years taking care of aquariums and leaving them. Really important to have that plan. If you have other tips or tricks that you'd like to share when you leave aquariums, please go ahead, leave them down below. I'd be interested to see them and share with the community there. If you want to see more, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And I am an active member of Reef Beef as well. If you're interested in a different type of group of reef hobbyists, that's some very good experience out there with some great folks if you want to give it a try. Or at least listen to Ben and Rich's podcast. That's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something out of it. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on the next video.